by Mr. Kuhrer from qqmore.net. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, Internet. I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking.
Hey, Internet. I love that intro. If you've seen his videos on YouTube, you know what I mean. As every single intro is exactly that, and this nice little intro there. So this evening we have quite a few teams actually in the ESL Weekly Cup. If you saw the bracket before, in the semi-final at the moment, we have Give Her a Haggis versus Don't Know What 2, and that's going to be our first game, or first series this evening. We're going to go through those builds first. But also we have in the quarterfinal, at the moment, Rom's Not Going to Jail versus TCG. And if TCG go through, I definitely want to try and cover that other semi-final, because Helsef has said he wants to go up against Salt for a while now, and I would like to personally see that, as well as I'm pretty sure you guys as well. If Orange Logo go through, we'll see how we go. But otherwise, yeah, we'll try and grab that semi-final as well. If not, then we will obviously see one of those teams in the final. Otherwise, welcome to the chat, everyone. How are you, dude? Are you good in general? You happy?
Definitely going to be interesting, I think.
Are you happy, though?
I'm happy but exhausted. A bit.
Oh, no.
I just discovered I'm on somehow allergies, got some allergies. Just recently found that out, so you got Kuhrer featuring sneezes and coughs today, but I got push to talk on hand, so shouldn't be too worrisome.
Awesome, okay. So what we're going to do is, because I'm not sure what to say about that other than I hope you feel better,
No, I'm fine.
is we're going to jump into the game, and we are going to start going through some builds. I'm just going to quickly update the scoreboard, and just don't know on that team, we'll update there. And yeah, actually, oh my god, when was the last time I wrote Haggis? It is 1S, awesome. Okay, so would you like to go through the red team builds for me? That would be awesome.
Sure, why not? The first player is Revan Arid, playing warrior with sword, horn and bow. Normal shout bow build on Celestial, playing with soldier runes, Sigil of Doom, Geomancy, Leeching and Hydromancy for the additional snare. Trades as usual 00464. Then we have Luminarin playing the off guard apparently with Hammer, Scepter, and is that a focus? Yes, it is. Sigil of Intelligence, Air, Fire, and once again Air for the maximum damage potential. Playing Rune of the Pack with Zerker, of course. Trade setup 00620 sorry, and we have Mambo number. Is it 5? +1 for that name. Classical engineer with slick shoes, toolkit, grenade kit, playing Celestial, Holebreak Room, rifle of course, Sigil of Intelligence, and Geomancy. Trade setup is 6 for the Grenadier, 0044 as usual. Then we have Elvathian, if I pronounce that right.
Yeah, Elvathian, yeah, that's the one.
Pretty much playing the meta setup for a Double Dagger Celestial Elementalist with Sigil of Battle. Quite interesting choice. Sigil of Hydromancy for the additional snare. Playing Rune of Strength for a bit more offensive approach. Celestial. Trade setup is 00266 as usual, playing the usual utilities you would find on metabattle.com. Let's go over to the Mesmer. Set was Zervan. He's playing traditional Shatter, not quite, with Great Sword, Torch for the additional burst. Playing Rune of Vampirism, quite interested to see how this is going to go, since it was nerfed just recently. Sigils are Sigil of Fire, Energy, Sigil of Blood, quite interesting choice, and Sigil of Energy. Berserker Amulet, of course. Trade setup as usual 44006.
Now, if we want to have a quick look at the Guardian, there is a slight change there. He's not gone for the point in Radiance for the Justice is Blind, so using that Virtue of Justice is not going to give him the blind. Instead, he's gone for the res. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the actual res, the knockback res, which is actually not a bad move. So he's opted to not go for the extra blind, and instead going for a bit more of a resing utility over in the Honor Tree. So that might actually be a nice little change, just bringing in some extra support for those reviving skills. Obviously, that's going to produce a nice knockback, so it could just go in for the res to knock back some opponents and then come back. So not a bad little change, not a bad little idea at all.
Banner and a knockback. It's going to be quite supportive if someone of these guys is going to go down.
That's very true indeed. Okay, so I'm going to go quickly over the blue team. This is going to be don't know what to do. We've sorry. We've seen these guys quite a few times here and there. And we're going to go first of all through Tycee, who's playing indeed oh god, Sword Dagger. I thought it was a dagger then. Sword Dagger SD Thief here with the Pack Rune going for the amulet, the Berserker's amulet. I'm not sure how the stealth is going for Thieves today and yesterday. I believe there is a bug going about. I'm not sure if that's still existing.
I think if a Mesmer gives you stealth and you get revealed through that, it's going to proc other stealths as well or something like that. I'm not too sure about that either, so a bit
something about being revealed after a while was I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, I haven't actually played the game since yesterday, but apparently this happened the other night. But we will have to wait and see how that goes. Captain Niveo, he's going to be playing. He's got the Chaos Army tag there, actually. I do remember this guy indeed. He's going to be playing DPS Meditation Guardian. We're going with the Hammer this time, and obviously with the Scepter Focus offhand, and the Pack Rune and the Berserker's Amulet, of course. And then we're going to jump over towards the other member of this team. Slycore goes Berserk. He's going to be playing Shoutbow Warrior by the looks of things, going for the standard trait spread there, as well as the Sword Warhorn with the, of course, the Longbow with the Soldier's Amulet, and going for Fear Me with that battle standard. Then we're going to go over to Zeta, who is playing Elementalist, Dagger Elementalist to be precise, with the Pack Rune, and also going for the 00266 trait spread, fairly usual in this build, of course, but not so much the pack. And we're not going to be starting to see those Vamp runes as much anymore, because obviously you can't switch achievements while you're in the Vamp runes, you can't use your tool belt skills while you're in the Vamp runes, you can't shatter when you're in the Vamp runes, you can't do any of that joyful stuff, because that's been nerfed, and I'm very happy. Very, very happy, because now here comes the variation of builds. Let's go, let's just talk, let's let them go. He's going to be playing Condi NG, yes! Awesome, Anabolic, legend. Anabolic, he's going to be playing the 60062, going for the, that's it, the Rune of Balthazar with that Rabid Amulet, of course, and the Pistol Shield. This build is fairly, doesn't get used a lot. It's very squishy. We're going to go through the splits. I'm going to go take us through. I actually know the red team really well. I play with those guys quite often. They are actually from my guild, and my guild is not called Haggis, but they've formed this team inside the guild, and should be quite exciting. I'm really excited to see these guys play and see how this splits go. So as we go into the map, how are we looking at the moment for these teams?
So two guys on Quarry. The Elemental is going for Waterfall all by himself. Rest going to mid. Quite interesting split as they predicted. The Thief from blue coming over to mine. Now everything is narrowing down to the mid. We focus on the Mesmer now. Quite tricky. The first cap goes to blue team with Waterfall, mine goes into the hand of Haggis, and they're expanding over to Quarry, splitting up from mid away. Mesmer still under heavy pressure, has a lot of problems trying to get out, still followed by the guys trying to get the knockback off. Does he get the steal?
No, I mean, with that there, I mean, Evathian felt like he was kind of staying on node for a little bit too long there when the Mesmer needed help. One of those guys needed to move to each other for a little bit more support a lot earlier. Unfortunately, the Mesmer is going to go down here. He might actually get raised, as we are going to see that looming coming in there with the knockback res. It's not going to be fully utilised, but he's going to help a little bit to actually avoid some of that pressure. But
super risky.
In for that res has caused them to have another DPS character go down, and also towards the midpoint we've actually seen Evathian go down as well, and he's not going to be raised. And I think we did indeed see the banner coming out from Ravin there, which actually I think was out of range. unfortunately for those guys. Not working out for Red Team.
Really unfortunate. 2 guys down, 1 on respawn. This first few minutes really not in the favor of Haggis. Still trying to recuperate, probably trying to stack up on mid. The Mesmer's waiting there around since he couldn't simply go in and die. 3 cap for, how is it called? Blue team. I don't know too.
Yeah, that's a really, really early free cap in this game already. And unfortunately, you know, we've seen the wipe of many of these team members. Elvathian out of the fight. We've seen Mambo as well as Ravin. And those
Mesmer got a bit curious over there. Probably overextended and is now on heavy focus. Maybe he can get back up, but I think it's going to... Yeah,
I'm a bit confused as to why he's trying to engage around that area. I think, you know, like you said, he's trying to be a bit curious. But in the end, not really the best move. And we've actually seen the DPS Guardian getting right in on the point quite quickly. But we are going to see the Engineer Mambo coming in from the side as well, trying to pin down one of their members using that magnet pull there as to try and get his burst off. But it wasn't able to in the end. And we're going to see a big team fight coming out from red and blue over on this node. No one out from the red team is pushing out onto the map. They want to actually just pull back here, regroup, and just maybe lose that 150 points, 200 points or so to get back into this game solidly. Because obviously if they can get the kills themselves, they can regain a lot of that lead in this game.
Indeed. The only possibility I could come up with is that someone's going to split too far since they can't have control over that. But this is their big chance to regroup over there. They have reduced time between respawn and traveling to their close point. There goes Anabolic down. Engineer is going to get stumped by 2 guys at once, trying to get really sure to get this kill. Next one is going down, and this is probably the throw for this team.
They're having
the Elementalist is sticking at mid, not sure what to do, or if to engage. Well, they're probably trying to play it safe off since the mid can be so easily defended. Still 4 guys up against 5. Now they have to engage as quickly as possible to get the maximum out of their respawn. Bit confused. Thief is trying to mess with them on mine point, but they're heading to mid over. Seems quite even.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, with those respawns coming out from these guys, what they should have done is really as soon as they got those kills, they needed to send someone over for the decap over to Waterfall to just debuff those points that are coming in from the blue team. Unfortunately, no one did that. Red team have come into the mid now in a 5v4 situation, but now everyone's back on blue team, and they've actually started... Yeah, Mumbo going down. So you're going to get the res here. The nice knockback again from the Guardian, protecting that res with those projectiles, obviously limiting those projectiles that are coming out, but still Mambo is the main target. Needs to get out of it. He can't. He's gone into the down state again. Many blue team members starting to surround his body, but also Valfian, Mambo, Lumen, and also Sad have also gone down in this big team fight pressure situation, and they have wiped in this big team fight. And the Thief again. This is something that red team should have done really. As soon as they've started to get those kills, went to go and get the decap, they're just going to fully push onto Ravin here, and Ravin is going to be in a world of pain as no one is starting to respawn other than Navafian, who's coming into the point now. And unfortunately, this is probably going to be
full wipe again.
Indeed.
Jesus Christ. I mean, the defense from the Guardian plus the banner gives really good support if someone, you know, goes down, but it costs them so much to really get this guy up, and you saw that simply the difference they took from tanking away these HP by rezzing these guys up was simply too much to hold up against these. Really tricky situation.
Lord Rush
guys
coming out.
Splitting up now. Lord Rush.
Yeah, red team aren't even going in for
this.
They're not even going for it. All the blue team members are getting involved over here, other than one member on the map now at the moment. Lord's not going to be... Lord is interrupted, of course. We are going to see that fear shout coming out. Blue team taking it quite confidently in the first game of the Legacy of the Fofa. We're going to Temple next. Still all up in the air. People might be wondering why we're trying to go for these... just taking a look at some other teams, because you know what? I want to. And I'm pretty sure that other people might be interested in having a look at just some other teams that might be playing out there in the ESL Weekly Cups, and just give us a bit of variation. We will try and maybe pick up the second semi-final, just see how that goes, depending on who actually won the previous round, of course. But what do we think the red team need to do quite a little bit differently from that last game, dude?
I think their movement was very static. You see that the team, of course, lacks characters who bring high mobility, but on the other hand, there were quite a few situations and team fights where they clearly lost, and the turning point was always the Resus. They're trying to get these guys up, and then the Guardian fell down because still he was probably not probably, in fact, he was playing offensive, but got the bubble up as a trade, as you mentioned earlier. Yeah. But still, not enough to get these guys up. Quite tricky situation, quite tricky decision, and this cost them so much.
I mean,
but I highly agree on what you said earlier. Just recently talked with Rom, and he advised anyone who wanted to get into PvP more and evolve onto a higher level to just get your foot into PvP and into ESL. I can recall that Salt, I mean, your goose is cooked, was a no-name team not far ago, and they made their way up. And even though you might get smacked week after week, this is your way if you want to get on the next level. And this also, you know, counts in a bit of hard work.
Exactly. These guys didn't get where they got today by not entering these cups and putting themselves out there and risking it all, and that's exactly what it is involving. So appreciation for these teams for getting involved today, and also, you know, it gets them some good practice for Tournament of Legends, which is coming up on Saturday. But for now, we're going to go for the splits. Having a look at the red team as they push out towards the rest of the map. They're going to avoid mid for now. They're actually going to push far with 4 members, Ravin being the front runner over onto this point now as well. And we are going to see over on the temple, no contestation there, of course, and obviously Alta should get capped as the rest of the team fight developing over in this point. But red team want to get those kills early on. That's what they're focusing on. They're trying to go for Anabolic here as he tries to line a sight. Does a good job as escaping. Red team also doing a really good job at actually staying together here and not risking losing a member early in the game like they did in the previous matchup.
Indeed, getting over there really comfortable, plus a 3 versus 5 quickly engages after they went over. Mesmer again under pressure. Thief instantly sticks to them, trying to focus down the enemy, the blue engineer. Really easy taking that out. The portal is still up for these guys, but will the Mesmer make it? Heavy pressure on Mambo. Mesmer's going down.
Yeah, Mambo down as well. Ravin very close. We can see the wall banner and a 2-member pickup for the red team. Ravin is a hero.
Nice light.
Good res indeed. And actually, we're going to see Sad getting out of the point now and actually going over towards the temple. But the rest of the red team members are going to be in a 3v4 situation, which means they needed to think about pulling out as a team rather than one member panic, kind of almost to a degree, coming over for the defense. And it would be good if they can get the kill, but Ivafian really needs the help. And they've actually sacrificed the whole team for the sake of one member escaping. They will keep the node. They have actually used the mower in a 2v1 situation, but they won't get the kill here. They need to get the kill to make the most of that mower, but Ticey has already moved over onto this node, which means the Mesmer can no longer put the pressure on that Elementalist and get involved in trying to take him down. But now the red team members are starting to respawn. It's not so bad because they can re-engage in this team fight here, but we're still missing 2 members with 5 left on the map for the blue team.
Yeah, still portal plays are in the game. Plus mid and far was left uncontested. This is simply where the mobility lags. Mesmer's going down, probably going to try some crazy reses, but getting him up with not too much of a health difference. Whole team probably going over. No, actually, whole team of blue except for the Elementalist who is staying at mid still at close. Buff's going to spawn in a minute, by the way. Engineer probably going to get far. Mambo is already chasing him. Oh, Anabolic. Pardon me.
Elvalfian and Ravin going down here. 2 big support characters, of course. The Mesmer going to escape with that distortion shatter as well. And now, really, they are in a lot of trouble as tons of members. Oh, like Captain Nivea is going to go down. He's going to be raised up very quickly after the red. And Sad is going to drop here as well. And slowly, red team being destroyed over on this temple fight as well. Hopefully, we're going to see... see these guys come back into the fight. We've actually seen different members going to try and get these decaps here, and we saw the red team Guardian trying to get that decap over on the mid, not successful in the end. Mambo having some problems versus Anabolic over here on the opposite side of the map, and he's very low HP. If Ticey comes in, oh, he is going to go down for sure, but he's trying his hardest at the moment to just make sure that he can survive and get this node decapped. Unfortunately, he's going to go into the down state. We're going to see the big old bomb knock him off node. Blue team will pick up the free cap here very shortly.
Yeah, buff's probably going over to the hand of blue team, getting contested by the red elementalist of team Haggis. Not too sure how long is this is going to last, since 2 members of Haggis are still down. Heavy focus on the elementalist. The red team quite a bit planless, in my opinion, trying to get somewhere a cap out of this map, but struggling to regroup somehow in a really uncomfortable position. Elementalist was falling down into the buff section of how was it called? Tranquility, right? Going to the mid buff, maybe he can what was I about to say? +1 the guys on mid, but even fight, still trying to focus on mid and close.
Yeah, it's looking really dire for the red team at the moment. They weren't able to get that tranquility buff. They haven't been able to get stillness to counter what the blue team are bringing in. Obviously, red team going for that stillness buff would bring them nothing in the end, because we've seen no cap for them since the beginning of the game, and actually losing tempo quite early on as well. Blue team are just powering ahead at the moment. Red team members going down all over the shop. Ravin's down currently over on the midpoint. We've had to see Valfian escape there as well. Sad going down over on the temple along with Mambo as well. He's just near the point. Lampy is trying to get the res off for trying his best that he can, but no chance versus 1 versus 3. Valfian's coming into the node as well. It's already been capped. He's not going to have any joy here at all. This is definitely over for the red team as it stands at the moment. Confident team fighting coming out from the blue. I mean, over on the faux fire, we actually saw red team take a nice team fight over on that map. You know, they were kind of outnumbered to a degree, and we actually saw the DPS Guardian being very bold, jumping into that fight on that node before. But red team have just not been able to regroup and come back and use these nodes to their advantage, and actually, you know, focus maybe their attention around the rest of the map. We're not seeing, even though we've got a Mesmer on this team, and the Elementalist with the Greatsword, we're not seeing a lot of mobility coming out from these guys whatsoever, which is something you said in the last game, actually.
Yeah, indeed. I think the second match somehow felt a bit, to me, less structured, less concentrated. These guys didn't take the time to regroup, as they somehow got into the feeling of, we need to pull this up as quick as possible, as we lacked this last game, and probably this was their downfall. Also, the decision with going far is probably an interesting thought, as they try to spice up their rotation and find some new ways, as the standard things didn't work in the first match, and went for this experimental method. But after all, if you think about it, going fully on far is quite more risky in the end. Faster respawn of the enemy team, and if they react soon enough, they will simply get crushed from both sides, and it's really, really hard to, for example, peel Thieves after the Mesmer if he's getting focused on far, because there's so much going on.
Well, I think it's a great points brought up there, to be honest. I mean, Haggis, we will see them maybe on the Tournament of Legends, as well as Don't Know What too. So we wish these guys good luck, and Don't Know will be going into the finals, sorry. Wow, okay. We can see these guys in the final. That's brilliant for them. We actually saw Giver Haggis going into the semis as well, and they will be fighting for the 3rd or 4th position, of course, versus the loser of the next semi-final, which we're going to find out very shortly, because hopefully we have had that game held, and I believe it's going to be TCG versus Salt, which Helsef and I have actually been waiting for a very long time. I think Nick might actually be very sad that he's not here for this, so you get to witness this and cast this with me, because it's going to be a very exciting one. We're going to go to the break. Did you want to see anything before we went to a break, dude?
No, I'm going to dance to the music as usual.
Awesomeness. We'll see you very soon, guys. Take care, and make sure you stick around for the next semi-final. Hello everyone, welcome back to the ESL Weekly Cup. This week I am joined by Kuhrer from QQmore.net. How are you doing today, sir?
Hello, I'm doing fine. Thanks. How are you, Mr. Jebro?
I'm good, sir. I'm good. Energized this evening. Energized indeed. And excited to see Salt and TCG finally take part in a match together when they're versus each other for once. It's been a while. I don't think we've seen these. I think people think that they haven't actually played against each other, but I think they have actually one time, and I can't remember who the winner was. It might have actually been a case of some DCs and whatnot, so maybe people aren't counting it. I don't know, but we will have to wait and see how it will go. And God. Head to charity, no thanks. What we're going to do is we're going to go through these builds. We're actually going to ask Kuhrer to go through these builds first of all. Thank you again for joining me today. Nick is going over on the Guild News channel doing some celebratory things because they're having their year anniversary, I think, of something. No, 100th show year anniversary. They've been around for a while.
Oh, congrats to them.
Indeed, indeed. So,
but I'm sure we're gonna buy him sooner or later. Shall I go over the builds of TCG, Mr. Jebro?
Indeed. I'm going to update the score as well, guys, just so you know. But we're going to go through the builds first of all.
Okay. Just give me a heads up.
Go for the red team if you want.
Hey, we have TCG with the first member, of course, Helsef, playing Greatsword Stuff this time on his Shatter Mesmer, Sigil of Air, Fire for the extra burst, Generosity to cancel a bit of condition energy, extra dodge, Vampirism, Berserker, going for the trade setup 4-4-0-0-6. Quite usual. Interesting choice, Confusion Cry in Illusion Trade. The first one reflects incoming damage, gives him Retaliation. Interesting choice actually, as he normally goes for Reflection, but taking into consideration they are playing against two warriors.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking forward how this is going to pan out. Let's move over to Eternia.
Okay.
We have Sword, Horn, and the bow, which is a classical shout bow build, Sigil of Intelligence, Energy, Geomancy, and Doom for the poison, Soldier's Rune to enhance the shouts, Celestial Amulet. As usual, the trade setup is 1-0-4-6-3. Interesting choice to get the Reckless Dodge in there. I'm not sure if this is
nice.
the classical meta build, as I don't play Warrior too often.
Yeah,
what do you say?
The Reckless Dodge is an American thing, but also, you know, when you need maybe a tiny bit of an extra damage in those team fights, like that dodge damage when you've got your might stacked is actually very, very nice. It applies an extra bit of sustained damage in your fights, especially as a warrior if you're in a team fight, which is where Eternia hopefully will be if he's got that banner up, of course. So it should be pretty good, actually, pretty good.
Indeed. Let's look at Karzers. He is going for Dagger, Pistol, and Shortbow, of course, Sigil of Air, Fire combined with Sigil of Fire and Air again for the maximum damage, Rune of Vampirism, and Amulet of the Berserker. Trade setup is 6-0-2-0-6. Classical Dagger, Pistol Thief, or nice burst damage, stealth action. Yeah, not much to say about that. So let's move over to the Engineer, if you will. We have Celestial Engineer, Vampirism Rune with Sigil of Intelligence and Doom Rifle, of course. The trade setup is 6-0-0-4-4-6 for the Grenadier trade. Utilities also, as usual, going for Slick Shoes for the nice CC and Stun Break on Tool Belt skills. Then we have an additional Engineer, Tex B is his name, and he's playing also pretty much the same build, except he's going for Rune of Water. Interesting choice. Increased boon duration and heals allies with his heal as well, which is the function of healing turret anyway, but he's probably going for extra healing in there. Trade setup is 6-0-0-6-2, so he's going for a bit more tankiness.
Yeah, it's pretty good this. I mean, before the Vamp Rune was really useful for engineers, because obviously that Vamp Rune nerf coming in where you can't use any skills while you're in that Vamp form. I've not actually tried it to make sure that it is actually working as intended now, but I'm assuming that's going to be one of the main reasons he's gone for this, because, you know, we was using that extra water rune that no one else is kind of touching. But it should be quite nice for him. I mean, it means that he can actually sustain himself and his team a little bit longer. I'm going to go through the blue team builds quickly, but I'm just going to say these guys can ready up. and I'm just going to go through them very, very, very quickly. We know Salt very well as TCG, of course, but TCG going through a few different members at the moment, and not too sure how that's going to go on Saturday either for those guys. But for now, we're going to go through Salt's builds. We've got Staff Elementalist in the form of Honey going for 00266, usual trait spread there, as well as the utilities going for the Glyph of Elementals as her elite. Chosen Sin's going to be the next man in this team. He's going to be playing obviously with a short bow, with a dagger pistol offhand, and the Vampiroon still going with him. And then we're going to have a look at his traits, going to be going for 60206 standard trait spread for him, as well as the other thief on the opposite team against Carces. Carver is actually going to go with the speedy kits here, normally going into power shoes, of course, over in the inventions trait line, and not opting to, and a little bit more protection coming out from the second trait there, has actually opted to go back and follow the rest of the kind of meta, I guess, with the engineer as well, as he goes into power wrench to get that extra, just increased cooldown, going only with the grenade kit here, as well as the toolkit and the elixir gun. No slick shoes for Carver. He's not going for those slick shoes, which is what most people are going for. He loves that elixir gun, but he's still going for that rune of vampirism there. Not sure if that's going to be something that might be changing in the future for a lot of people. I do hope so. EC is not going to be playing DPS Guardian today. He's normally playing on Yeseni or Yasani. The name I butchered every single time I said it, but he's going to be playing Shoutbow Warrior, very supporty, of course, going also for that reckless dodge. So that's kind of interesting. Something we don't see in the EU hardly at all is now being played by both Shoutbow Warriors, going for the reckless dodge. Fair play. I mean, they've not got the DPS Guardian there, but they're actually going to go for a ton of support, because look who else is running that Shoutbow Warrior. We've got Mr. Knight Jr., of course. So the standard normal guy who's normally playing this build is actually going for this. So Salt switching it up, man. I mean, they've not got Frostball or Trebax in their team at the moment, apparently. So they've not got that kind of bursty combination. They've got the mobility of a little bit of Honey here, as well as also Chosen Sin and Carver now with those speedy kits. So this is a lot of tank ability coming out from Salt in a very different team to what TCG might have been expecting.
Let's find out. Blitz is going to be really classy. The warrior, or Jaisi, sorry, is going for Waterfall. Cassius and Lord Helsef probably trying to burst him out, setting up with two guys going into stealth probably. Two guys from Salt going for their far node, and only two players at mid left. Helsef is going for the one-on-one. Kaiser is going to get back up for Chosen Sin. Now getting the manpower up at mid, trying to focus out Honey. Interesting choice.
Yeah, it's a good choice, because, you know, I don't think Salt were kind of aware really of where they were actually going to go in, and because they were stealth for so long and really took their time with their engagement, you know, blue team weren't able to keep hold of the mid, but they have been, of course, been able to go for the waterfall. Engaging on mid now might not be the best, but as Chosen Sin comes into the point, they can start to push forward, support his push as he starts to stealth up and potentially take out members such as Helsef, or think about going over towards the waterfall potentially. Helsef has left a portal over towards the point over at the moment, as he has stealthed back. Sorry, he came through that portal and came through in stealth.
Sneaky.
So yeah, very sneaky. He's going to be able to get the nice decap
gets
here.
The decap off.
Oh,
nice.
No way. So Carces
really
can come
fortunate
in
position for TCG. Got the mid cap. Really hard to get this off their hands. Their close point, I mean mine point, is going really easy for them as well. Not really seeing a lot of spikes. How, of course, what is possible with so much Celestials, but still a quite interesting choice, and really in the favor of TCG at the moment. Mid uncontested, not anyone deafing, so everyone on their way to bring as much pressure out as possible.
Yeah, over here on the quarry as well, actually, we're having a bit of a situation, but blue team have really had to just pull out, because Carver's actually had to completely get off node, along with Carver here, sorry, Carver and Knight Jr., sorry, as they start to go towards mid to potentially regroup in a way. But Knight Jr., really this position, I'm not too sure. They were trying to escape the node and actually are really punished for it. Chosen Sin might get the decap here. He does get the pull from Texby, but I don't think he's going to go for that burst combination which comes out from the engineer, of course. Nice decap means they negate some points coming across the map, and we are going to see blue team picking up the waterfall now as they push towards the mid. But look at Carziz now, again, stealthing, but Honey has sense that move, as they're not aware where Kazes is. So they're sensing that decap. Good move to move back to the node. A good move also from TCG, looking out for the potential decap there.
Yeah, still evolving into a 4 versus 5, not really in the favor of Salt. Jicey is going down, banner already used on close as they collapsed there earlier. Got the reses up, but still you see that the cooldowns really matter in this very, very close fight. Hellsat going for the full offense, getting burst down in the process, lying somewhere off-road. Do they get the res up?
Yeah,
Jesus
probably.
Christ, quite tricky, and banner of course as well. Is he going to pop the portal? Still on a lot of condition pressure.
I mean,
really close fight.
That was really nice. I mean, we did actually see an interrupt from Salt onto Eternia there. Either that, or I missed whether or not Eternia actually interrupted his own cast, just fearing that he might not be able to get that, just in case some kind of knockback came out. Obviously, they've not got the Guardian there, but we are going to see Helseth drop here towards the midpoint, just on the stairs. No res coming out for him at the moment as it comes, and he's very, very upset. Texby is in the down state as well, over on this midpoint. We're going to see Blue Team pick up the 2-cap now, as we see them come out strong into this game. 2 men out of the game at the moment. Lord Helseth and Texby, 2 of the certain main members of this TCG team, have been taken out over on the mid, as Blue Team now start to make a good decision and push towards the far point.
They're punishing them for not acting on their close point, trying to get the sneaky, but only getting a decap done in the process. Honey is defending the point, could go on for pretty much forever, but he's just trying to evade the damage and get hold the point decap, pardon me. Hellseth joining in, Warrior getting supported by Honey now, 2 versus 2, evened out on Waterfall. The mine point going over to TCG again, midpoint still in the favor of Salt. What's going on
I mean, they've pulled away from Quarry because they felt like they needed to support over on the waterfall. Although they had Knight Jr. and Honey over on that node, they could have survived there for a little bit of time, just with the cleave that was coming out. But Blue Team sensing that they did need to support. Now, as they start to retreat, EC has gone into the downstate over here. Gonna have a look at Knight Jr. see what he's been mowed. No banner coming out from him, even if he's got the cooldown over on the midpoint. He's gonna go down fairly shortly. We're gonna see a supply crate coming out as well from Texby over on the midpoint. I do believe, as Carver is struggling to stay alive over on this node. We've got the rest of the TCG members coming in. They're going to decap it before he's even able to get back on the node. He is CC to hell, and Vampirism proc comes out, but of course there's no condition removal for him. He's not got his heal up, he can't use any abilities, so in the end that's not going to be massively beneficial, and Honey is left to support, stay over on this waterfall node now to keep it in their favour, while the rest of the team are trying to respawn and move over onto this node. They are starting to come in now, but Honey doesn't want to die. They'd rather give up the contestation than lose another member of the team.
Yeah, probably trying to regroup, really constructive and waiting for the team members up there. But really interesting decision by TCG. They let the far point, in this case Waterfall, down to collapse the team on mid, and really paid off in this case. The Warrior Knight Jr. is trying to split up on mine, but getting countered by Drasmi, and now the fight is going on Waterfall. Still, they're getting down Honey with all that pressure, while still trying to hold the points defensive with Eternia now facing Sava. Interesting choice.
I mean, these guys, TCG really coping well with these 2 banners as well. You know, they're taking out the Warriors at different points of the game, which has seemed to be very, very effective in these team fights. They're not worried about these banners at all. They're not interrupting them a massive amount, and that might actually, in the end, which is what happened over on this node, might actually punish them here. They're trying to get the res on Texby. It's not going to happen in the end. There's so much cleave. Honey's going to go for the confirmed down here as TCG should be starting to pull out. But we are going to see Helseth coming back into the node here as well. And he hasn't got his portal yet. They can start going for the Lord, of course, in another 50 points. But yeah, Chosen Sin going down as well. And Kazes
putting out too much, just trying to play more defensive, not really interested in holding the point on all costs, trying to split a bit off-road from the points away, but getting their midpoint decap, that might cost them a lot. Still in the favor of TCG, 150 points in their favor actually. Chosen Stint trying to stealth up, probably going to make a move on mid. Eternia, is he going to get focused? No, he's trying to get on Texby, pardon me. quite tricky, quite tricky. Still, the fight is going on mine after, I do know they were fighting for quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm not really, I mean, Night Junior is here in this 1v1, and I don't really think this is a good position for him to be in. You know, Drazi can easily decap from here, but, you know, Night Junior is letting Drazi use a lot of cooldowns as he defends this node, allowing Chosen Sin to come in. But as they've actually tried to +1 that fight, they're losing Carver over on the mid, which is not great for them, as they have to push back now again. EC and Honey can sustain that point very well, so maybe they can try and get this kill over on the core, get the cap very quickly and come support back over towards this part of the map. But as it stands at the moment, Salt have a lot of work to do. You know, at the moment we've got 360 points to TCG, almost 200 to the blue team. If they can really get a decap or so, they can come back into this game and go for a potential Lord Rush. But TCG are looking pretty strong at the moment.
Indeed. Chosen Sin tried to support Night Junior, got +2. Now the fight shifting to mid. Chosen Sin managed to pull out. Quite evened out now, probably depends on who's going to get the midpoint. Taxby really low at the moment, probably going down. Are they getting the res up? Jicey is going for the stomp, getting it off. 4 versus 5 now. Kaz is still under a lot of pressure, but pulling out, probably going for just a quick break to regenerate some health.
But look, over on the waterfall, Helsef gets the easy decap, which has to force a member of the blue team back out of the node so they can actually get the outnumbered fight. In the end, as Texby comes back into mid, TCG will have +1 to member here, but they will lose the cap over on the midpoint. Blue team need to start picking up these nodes. They have lost Eternia mid, which is a big advantage for Salt if they can actually make sure he goes down. The cleave comes out, the cleave is real. Chosen brings out the steal as well over onto Eternia, and just to make sure that he is cleaved out of this fight, and he's going to be down and out. Chosen Sin is quite pressurized here. He's going to be immobilized in the cleave, which should be coming out now, although he is stealthed, so nobody will be able to offer up that extra cleave. Now Chosen Sin can +1 the fight over on the quarry because they have lost that member Eternia over on this midpoint as well. So blue team can sustain the map quite well, but TCG are 440 points at the moment. They need a decap over on this side of the map as soon as possible. Draze is being a hero in this 1v2 at the moment. He should get +1 by the spawn of Eternia. That is exactly what's happening as he comes into the node, and they should be able to keep this point and win the game as it stands at the moment. Draze is very low, but the rotation of Eternia means that they can keep the node in their favour. But Chosen Sin's going to go for that kill as soon as he possibly can. But Draze is good, so he's saved by the Vamp rune, and that's really the other benefit of that rune there, to be honest. Still had the conditions, but at least he could get through. And the world can see the decap, but will this be too late in the game? They really need to hold the whole map as it is, get to 350 and go for the Lord Rush, or just hold the map as it is. But the thing is, they're going down all over the shop. Night Junior is in a low state over towards the midpoint. He's going to go down off node. We can see the banner coming out from EC, of course, as he's just popping that around the side. A nice cast. He lined of sighted just at the last second so that he wasn't going to get interrupted. And Karzez is going to get the easy decap here as EC does get immobilized off node, and nobody's picking up any points at the moment.
Hellsef on a lot of pressure, trying to pull out. They neutralize pretty much all over the map. Draze and Eternia against Chosen Sin and Honey. Eternia pulling out, getting +1 in the favor of Salt in this case. Quite tricky because they pulled so much of an advantage out of this short delay with the Vampirism room as Chosen Sin failed to get down Draze. Draze is super low. Night Junior also down on mid.
Awesome job. Good job. Not only an escape tactic, but a really an offensive move to take down EC very quickly. And that offensive move really helps Dresses to survive here, as well as taking out the member of the blue team. We're going to see another banner coming out for those players there, as we see another decap coming out over on the waterfall. Blue team really not having any luck with keeping these nodes at the moment. Karzez and Helsef being instrumental in controlling the map and actually making sure that blue team aren't picking up any points at all.
Oh, Jai going down off point mid, heavily in the favor of TCG, as the rest of the set are Waterfall also going to TCG. This is going to reach probably an end, but really nice turnaround. Decapped all the point, trying to hold them neutral to make up for a potential Lord Rush. Really well played by both sides, I think.
Okay. that is the end of the game. We've seen Carver taking a knee there, and we've seen the last kill out, which brings the TCG into 500 points versus 300 for the blue team. Some great movement from TCG on this map, as well as also, you know, that first engagement over on the midpoint from Karzas and Helsef. They're kind of standard move over towards the far node. You know, Helsef normally with a thief or a DPS focused character moving over to that point. Maybe, you know, normally getting the stealth off and either splitting or actually teaming up, but being very patient to a point where Salt didn't know where they were going. And they really got the surprise up on them, on those guys, and Helsef leaving that portal over towards that waterfall node, and then, you know, Salt kind of leaving almost to a degree, and Helsef getting that nice decap early in the game really put Salt in a position for the comeback quite early on.
Really interesting choice indeed. Really nice portal plays also by Lord Helsef in this game. Furthermore, you can of course discuss if they saw that coming, that he's going to start off with the teeth and going to the far point for them, but in the end Salt is playing such a tanky comp. For Celestials, Honey, legendary on holding points, really hard to decap. Once this team get their points set, it's so hard to turn it around, especially on this large midpoint. But still, with all the mobility, with all the mind games, with all the portal plays, really deserved win to TCG in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they did a good job on this map. And, you know, another good move, another nice move, which was towards the end of the game there, actually, was Drazir. When he was in that, he was actually doing a fantastic job in his 1v2s, and the support that came out for him in the end really did, you know, it's only coming over to that quarry node, worked out for them kind of towards the end. And also when they brought... So when Helsef brought the portal to mid, changing a situation, and that's what's really impressive about a lot of teams, you know, changing a situation where, you know, we're losing this fight. We need to change something up because otherwise we're going to wipe and there's a comeback incoming. That Mesmer coming in, offering up the portal in a situation to completely outweigh the odds into the other realm of the map, you know, bring it into their favour from potentially losing a fight into dominating a fight and actually winning the rest of the game. It was just awesome, you know. They moved them over to mid. Drazir survived completely. They took out EC. Okay, we saw another banner coming out, but it was a good move, and that's the top tier play that we see from teams like TCG and Salt and different members of our community, which really, really, you know, puts them ahead of some of the more amateur teams out there. Which I'd love to see them get to that kind of level, but. Yeah, it's just the, I guess the awareness and the synergy of just making sure you know what to do at the right time as well, you know. Guys, we've got a portal to mid, we need to get Drazir the hell out of here now. We can, you know, be very offensive here and take the rest of the game.
Really well coordinated, really precise. I had the feeling that TCG always +1 every fight, which is mathematically impossible. But as you just stated, every newcomer to the game who reads the description of Portal is going like, man, you can pull off some really sick stuff with that one. But in practice, it's always a bit tricky because it meant so much planning ahead, so much tactical finesse, and so much coordination, of course, for the team to pull off these crazy Portal plays. And this is really beneficial for TCG as they mastered this craft within this game.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, I'm just confused because I looked at the teams and they keep changing. So I was just like, what? So I just lost it there right at the end of what you're saying. But we're kind of saying similar things, you know. They're playing a good game and they're playing a precise one, and it's the coordination is important.
Salt had some really nice mid-air immobilizers. Honorary mention for that.
Oh god, the mid-air immobilize is such a pain in the ass, right? I had that the other day on my NG a couple of times in the game, and I was just like, I've really got to stop jumping. I've really got to stop jumping when there's these guys around that are ready to immobilize my ass in mid-air. But yeah, I think you're right as well. You know, there's so much sustain on blue team in terms of their survival. There's just not enough damage coming out. We've got Chosen Sin. He's not able to get in a position to get a lot of his damage off. They need another damage dealer, like a high damage dealer over on this team. They've got the support, but this map might actually be very useful for that because we do have the buffs. So we're going to see how well we go on this map. You're going to go through the splits, young sir. How are we going?
Let's see. TCG is trying to plays Draze on their close point temple. Rez is going for mid. Interesting choice. Very classy 4-1 split. 3 guys. Chosen trying to get on mid. First one down already. Sava and Knight Jr. maybe going for far. Jesus Christ, that was quick. Honey down, but Bennett. Quite tricky.
I mean, that's even just a good use of the banner early on, you know, forcing that banner in just such a blatant situation where, you know, I mean, we can take this guy down in mid, but in the end, you know, it's not really gonna. They've had to use a massive cooldown to stay in the map already, so that already the benefit of having 2 shout by warriors is not going to pay off in these team fights as they start to occur in the map. We've got 2 skirmishes going on over on a mid, and then we've got far as well. Honey's going to have to try and escape here as Chosen Sin comes in to get some potential burst damage onto Kazes or Helsef. He's going for Helsef at the moment. Helsef is quite low, but we are going to see him escape quite easily as he blinks up towards the top of the map there, and we are going to see the 1v2 in favour of Salt at the moment. Should get the decap here, but we are actually going to see Kazes trying to get away in that Shadow Refuge as Chosen Sin does trying to pop the AoE, but Helsef using that situation to 2v1 over on the altar, of course, as EC is in a situation having to use that Sword 2 to get away here and potentially benefit the rest of the map in a better position. So still quite close in the early start of this game. Chosen Sin trying to engage on Kazes quite early as we see the stealth coming out from him over towards the stillness buff.
Draze just went down on Temple, followed by Kazes somewhere off point. Quite tricky situation as they are losing their home node. Far got captured by them, but Honey is now defending mid, which speaks heavily in the favor of Salt since they get these points and got defense to hold them as well. Eternia also going down, got knocked out by Chosen Sin. They are regaining control quite easily at the moment as TCG is splitting all over the place. Now they're trying to get to mid.
Yeah, at mid at the moment, they were in a 2v1 situation and really pressurised Honey. They've still got the congestion on the map, even having 2 or 3 guys out of the map at the same time. How were they able to sustain, how were they allowed to sustain this map, losing 2 members and then Eternia on this map? You know, it's that movement. They're not using that to their advantage, and now Honey's under pressure to the point where she's going to actually go into the down state here as well. And there again, the offensive is with TCG, even though they have 3 members currently on this map.
Oh, Helsef going down around Alta. Texby going to try out his new rune set, trying to play the medic, but just holding down Salt. What's going on?
Yeah, in Salt coming,
many decaps.
They just started to come back into the game, taking full advantage of the fact that TCG had 2 members out of the map. Just as that starts to happen, you know, the decats start coming out. EC is 1v1 versus Texby. We do have that node in their favour, but Texby is in a good position, you know. He can decap this node in a bit when he's got his cooldowns back, because he got... There we go, it's about to come out now. He can do the pull, he can also do the knockback. He's got his block up, but EC's getting some nice damage off now as he comes up with that heal. Does get the blast off. Should be able to
probably forcing out the supply crate, but he's trying to pull her out, seeing her, blinding her, freezing her. Quite tricky. Tranquility, not tranquility. First buff is up, getting captured by Honey now. It's like playing with a 4-cap, quite beneficial for them. Draze holding mid, forcing the team at the moment into a 4 versus 1, and now there's a lot of pressure on Texby, dropping down the supply crate on altar point, getting a lot of damage input from Chosen Sin.
Is he going to get him? No, Chosen is not going to pursue because Kazes is up there as well. And they want to be careful here because also Lord Helsef is here as well. And the nice knockback comes out from Helsef onto EC there over on that node. That pushes them away. That ensures that they're probably going to get this node. A Chosen Sin getting pinned down again in that Chaos Storm as well. And staff being used on this map as well as the previous for Lord Helsef. For the Mesmer, of course, Chosen Sin going to be in that down state. We're going to see the Temple still picks up for the blue team. They are 100, just under 100 points ahead at the moment as Helsef comes through that portal. Honey, knowing that that's going to happen, she gets to dodge that Berserker that comes out from Helsef as well. We're going to see anyone else coming through that portal as they try to potentially go on the offensive for the 3rd node here. Helsef is just distancing himself. He can fully range off node. Honey could actually just... Yep, she's done. done that. She's tried to close the gap and just put some AoE around him, so he's going to force him to move a bit. But here, he's now on node. She needs some probable help after a while, because Helseth can, you know, he's been in situations where he can 1v1 Elementalists very, very easily as well. And Honey needs to get some support to make sure she can indeed keep
but he's getting
node.
accompanied by Chosen Sin, Dagger Pistol Thief. Really, the arch enemy probably again. He wasted so many cooldowns for Honey and is now in the disadvantage as he has no defense to pull off and is going down.
It was a risky push. It was a very risky push. And
probably took too long.
I'm wondering whether or not he got the gold immobilize in the air. He probably did. EC over towards the midpoint is looking low himself. Needs to get to the rest of his team members for some support here. Slowly getting towards night. But we are going to see Kazes dropped as well in this fight, as blue team should be able to start to take the advantage here as EC go for the decap over on the altar. We're going to see also the buffs coming out in about 30 seconds here. And a good position for Salt. If they can take down single members of TCG, this is going to be looking good.
Texby got just bannered up, still recuperating to the 5-man strength, but splitting over too far. Kaz is getting the decap done. Texby heading to their home in order to get the, to their far in this case, to get the cap back. Buff is going up in 6 seconds, and the only person down there is Honey. Really, really tricky.
Yeah, she's the only one in a position now to try and get this, but of course when they put one person down there, they're going to be uneven in the fights if TCG don't send someone down there. But what they've gone for now is they've actually gone for the kill instead of that. We're going to see Kazes coming in for the interrupt on Honey. That was a good move. They actually pushed down Chosen Sin towards moving for that buff as well in the above position, to the point where, you know, they could retake control of Tranquility. So not only did they get the kill, they interrupted the buff. But can the blue team survive this to come back in? Knight's very low here as he actually thinks about potentially using that Signet heal in a position where he got very, very desperate. We're going to see over towards the altar as well in this 1v1. EC has the node at present, can kill Texby, but I think they're going to get the cap here of Tranquility in the end unless blue team can control this node. They've just got to be careful that they don't put too much focus on it.
Yeah, Texby still not really in the favor of this match, trying to get the most out of his pushbacks, but still on a lot of cooldowns, has a stun break on his hands and also Elite just in case. When we switch down to the bottom buff, Kazes going down, there's a 2 versus 2 going on, Chosen Sin supporting Honey in order to get the buff, and who is there? Eternia trying to delay it as far as possible. 2 guys from Salt down. Chosen Sin going to the mid now. Really interesting splits. The buff is really getting the most out of their rotations. Texby getting +1 by Knight Jr., while Draze and Sava holds out on altar. I think
it's not too bad because Salt had the stillness buff. They actually got that buff, so they got equal ticks, but now they haven't. They've only got the 1 node. They had the 2 caps each, of course, with that stillness buff giving you the extra points of reset couple of seconds. Pardon me, but now they're actually starting to lose that point advantage. Now, are they thinking about staying on the 1v1 for the Tranquility, or do they want to go for that stillness and try and pick up another node, which actually might pick them up in this game, possibly?
Yeah, quite tricky. They're gaining the point advantage back. Really close game after all. Eternia and Honey still fighting against each other on bottom buff. This could potentially go on forever as she's playing a Staff Elementalist and he is a Shoutbone, not really in the potential to deliver a lot of burst damage, probably just delaying the buff and ignored by the bold teams. But there is not Helseth joining in, trying to probably get the burst up. Chosen Sin, however, retreating from their far point, as there is currently a 3 cap going on for TCG, probably due to the lack of all the support Honey could provide. Honey still quite low at the bottom buff. Now that they have the 3 cap, they can go all in and focus on the bottom buff. There comes the Thief in 3 versus 1 on Honey at the moment, followed by the banner, and the fight goes on again.
This is insane. Down at the bottom, this is going to be all resting. Or if they can get Tranquility here, they can push for the win. But they're losing in the 1 versus 2 cap at the moment. Knights over towards the altar here versus Texby. And again, in this situation, which in the end he can win. We're actually going to see the caps and decaps coming out from Carver here. As we see the stillness buff coming up as well. Oh my good lord. So Kazes versus Chosen Sin in this 1v1. Which really could be quite beneficial for either team. That will push them ahead significantly. Because I think the Tranquility fight is all but over maybe, as Honey does get supported here by EC. 2 supportive characters trying to cleave down Kazes as soon as possible. No one else is coming for the assistance here. Eternia goes over towards Stillness and cleaves around that point, so Chosen has no sin. Chosen has no sin. Haha, get it? Chosen has no choice but to disengage. The game is very close. We've got 24 points in it at the moment. Will we see this Tranquility pick up down at the bottom? I don't think we will. Kazes is stealthed at the moment down the bottom. He's going to try and interrupt EC again as we go back towards Stillness. This game is just going ahead now, and really this fight over on the altar is also a key one, as Texby is dropping so low. If he goes off node now, he gets a couple of decaps, which delays Knight even longer from getting this node pickup. If they can get the decap over on the temple, they could really come back. The game is so close at the moment. 24 points still difference. Can we see that pickup of the Stillness here? If they can get the knockdown of Eternia down the bottom, they could really pick it up and come back into the game. But it's so close towards the end. Eternia is actually going to pick up Stillness here. They're going to get a ton of extra points from this. They're getting the 2 cap versus 1 at the moment. If Salt even pick up the altar, they're still going to be behind. They need to get Tranquility to come back into this game. And at the moment, EC is down and out. Honey is 1v2. It can't be happening for
They got
Salt.
the banner. Oh, 2 versus 1 at the far point of Salt, pardon me. Now probably heavily in the favor of TCG. Such a close game. I'm sitting here with the smirk from one ear to the other. Really intense. Jesus Christ.
Really, the sustaining, the tankiness of Salt would on this map would really benefit them as well. You know, but the thing is they're lacking mobility to support quickly. Which they can't do, which TCG can do, which is the best way to defeat that kind of team. They've got the decap ability of Texby and his sustain that can sustain those 1v1 fights so well. He did a great job at defending those nodes and also, you know, keeping them contested and decapped. He was essential in keeping their lead towards the end of that game, and also the rotations of the rest of the guys defending the Tranquility buff, as well as Draze pushing over towards the temple, you know, and keeping that in a 1v2 for so long that he did. You know, it was a fantastic game. Fantastic.
Yeah. It was also, I think, the creativity and adaptivity of TCG that which they owe their win to, because once the buff spawn, and just as you saw, Tranquility and how is the buff on the upper shelf called? Stillness, right? Jesus. Forces your team into maybe a 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 2 situation for a short time, but in this case for a very long period. And in this moment, it comes down how you creatively adapt to this situation and make the most out of it, as it's really unusual to play in such a small scale, as Honey was busy at the bottom, as the Thieves rotated in and out, Hellseth playing with this portal, getting immobilized mid-air, raging, getting with the portal back in again, back and forth, crazy match. It's all I have to say.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff from both teams, of course, and congratulations TCG. Going through to the final, TCG will be facing up against don't know what 2 in the final of the ESL Weekly Cup number 79. Thanks again for everyone joining us. Okay, so final of the ESL Weekly Cup number 79. Ken Don't Know, bring it to TCG in this final. They've made a great effort tonight in getting towards this stage, and maybe they're pushing towards getting into this higher tier of the Guild Wars 2 best PvP scene. Have a look at the blue team as they start to split across this map, of course. We're going to see Eternia as well on the red team. going towards mid, splitting off differently from the red team. They want to polish off mid, maybe as soon as possible as they start to go in the node. They are stealthed out. Tixby's going to try and get that early pull off onto the Dark Teddy there as he gets a ton of damage onto him. Slick Shoes coming out from him as well. He's not going to be pinned down for too long though, and actually we're going to see the rest of the blue team members coming into his defense with that damage as well. We can see the portal drop Die Helseth as well over on that midpoint. Have a look at his position as he's trying to actually just stay out of range here of the DPS Guardians. They're going to be a big problem for him, of course, as he starts to move out of that point. Ticey getting a lot of focus on him as he starts to withdraw as well. Kazir's being really focused on him, trying to take him out as early as possible. He's going to be able to get the down as well.
Yeah, Ticey's going down, trying to teleport away, getting rest probably by the Guardian, but he's going to play bunker, therefore not too much defense up. Other Guardians joining in to get him up, and he's up again. Still, the health points are quite in the favor of TCG. Kazir's under heavy pressure by Ticey, probably going for the
good pressure
rescue to the base. Intense. Captain Bo going down at mid in the moment. Other Guardian trying to join in, getting the rest up. Helseth trying to deny it with the Chaos Storm. They're getting him down. Probably.
Yeah, decap over on the quarry was almost going to happen. Dresser did get back there in the end, though, to make sure that wasn't going to happen. Blue team might have still got the decap, but unfortunately they're thinking about going for the point instead of defending their team member who's very low here. Underbolic needs to try and get out of this, and he's still got those shield skills, and he's going to be able to stealth that with that blast from the shield number 4 ability there to get some survival back up. He's doing a good job of surviving in this Condi build. It's a lot squishier than Celestial, of course, less sustain in terms of keep staying alive.
Knockdown, and there comes the burst. Bolic going down and finished as well. Still a lot of back and forth between mid and far as
and the mower comes out to Teddy as well as he tries to escape up the stairs, but actually changes direction and he uses that second ability to try and distance himself, as well as the 5th ability to run away. He does a good job of trying to line of sight around the corner there, and we are going to see him getting back involved in this fight quite shortly. Actually, Dark Teddy switched. Did I say that he was playing Meditation Hammer Guardian? Why did I say that when he's playing altruistic healing? Maybe he switched that up, and maybe I just was being a bit special at that point in time. But we are going to see
probably just guardception, but still under a heavy focus. All his cooldowns are up, trying to get the wall down, but not really much to help him there. Team also not present. They're just laying or just letting him bleed out on this point. Focusing on Waterfall again as Texby just went down over there, trying to support the fight against Lord Helseth. Probably Captain Niveau joining in, and whilst simultaneously contesting far at the moment. 3 versus 2 in the favor of TCG. Icy under a lot of pressure, getting pulled out and stealthing out.
Yeah.
Stealthing, but going down.
Just
not
really
near any help of getting rest, but left there. Not really
not looking
really
good for
discovered.
them. Over on that node, then pushing towards the waterfall now. They're actually sustaining quite well. I do not know why I said Meditation Guardian when I brought the bloody build up on the screen. That's how much you just see, just kind of, I don't know, pieced out there for a moment, so I apologise about that. Anabolic now, as we go into the rest of the game, which is the more important thing, he's in the downstate still as he moves towards potentially getting a res from someone, which is not going to come out indeed. Captain Neveo here defending with Zayla as well over on the waterfall, and also we can see Dark Teddy coming in, so this is going to be a very supportive character coming into the point, as he's actually got that focus up as well, so he's not using the shield, as we do normally see from Tage actually, so opting for that extra block, as well as that blind coming off the 4th skill as well. Going to give him power here to actually give his team a lot of support onto the node, but really the damage is coming across from TCG, still sustaining themselves very well on this point, and still very much in the game. Captain Neveo, he's going to be focused hard here, as we see the Scepter 2 ability going to try and cover him with that, but that's not going to work. He's going to have to line of sight, and he's going to be okay here as well. But Dark Teddy doing a great job in the supportive role, but no cooldowns left other than that and power, of course, and TCG still very much focused on this point, as Captain Neveo does go into the downstate here on the side of the map.
really unfortunate point trying to get the res up, but Hellseth is trying to deny that as quick as possible while not really regrouping on their home node, which is quite an interesting decision as they pulled off Draze and Ticey to make some action on the mine point, but this really cost them a lot. Trying still to get the res up. Teddy got the mediation guard. Captain Nugo joining in again. Ticey still under a lot of pressure, going down, getting focused out by Khazers. Up again, trying to retreat a bit. Really a back and forth at this point. Got the decap down already, by the way, so it's heavily ticking in the favor of TCG. Trying to get the midpoint. Ticey playing now against Khazer. Dagger Pistol against Sword Dagger. Interesting fight, but probably in the favor of Khazer, as he can utilize burst so easily. If you just compare the raw damage output, it's heavily dependent on the RNG he's going to get off from the signet of air and fire, while Xella is going down on their home node.
Decap mid.
Waterfall.
Khazers versus Ticey here. Ticey's actually been doing good in these situations. He's actually putting the offensive over towards Khazer. Khazer actually has to get that Vampirium proc does come off in the end, which forces him away, and Ticey's going to be very offensive, but Khazers will probably get some assistance here, so Ticey does need to be very careful as he starts to engage. We are going to actually see Hellseth going for the early pickup of this Lord, of course. Texby and Hellseth just pushing straight in already, and we're going to see Hellseth with the portal run, which should be, I didn't see where they dropped it, I do believe it must be over towards the waterfall. Indeed it is over there now, so they will push in for the Lord kill. No defense coming out from the blue team as Hellseth leads the push with Texby into this point to try and take out the Lord as soon as possible. He's going to be on... No target for me, as apparently my keyboard doesn't want to work.
Lord in more form, half
He's down for sure.
Point, and
no defense coming out from
going for them. 3 guys at Lord, and there goes the first win to TCG.
Whew. There we go. These guys are ready to... They want to pitch this game ahead as soon as possible. Wow. Okie dokie.
Just like that.
Good job,
Blue Screen United against Disconnects Limited.
I don't know, were in the game for a while at the beginning there, but they just slowly lost their team members. They weren't able to regroup. They tried to regroup over on the waterfall, but they weren't able to get any focus damage on those players of TCG to make sure that they could push back out into the map and even it, like, actually outnumber the map, potentially getting the advantage. You know, sometimes you want to just regroup and push back in when you've started to lose those team members, to actually just sacrifice quite a lot of points and then come back into the map. But they weren't even allowed that opportunity because the boss push was initiated. It could be different on this game. We've got no Lord Rush, but we've got Tranquility, which can finish it off pretty nicely. As we go into the potential last map of the ESL Weekly Cup number 79 final for TCG versus Don't Know What To. And how are we thinking this game's going to go? I'm not too sure at the moment. Do you want to take us through splits, dude?
Going classically for the Temple 3 of TCG are going into the midpoint. Draze running into Anabolic in the intention to going to far point, which is kept by Xella on altar point, while the team fight bursts out at midpoint. Let's check that out.
Yeah, just over on the mid at the moment, Ketsun Navy will be under a ton of pressure, needs to get out of there. He's going to block heal as he starts to move around. Was interrupted there as well, just briefly, I do believe. I'm having a couple of lag issues myself. We're going to go back.
Hellseth in a lot of trouble, popping the mist from through his runes, trying to reposition over the point, dropped his portal as his last resort, trying to portal out, getting this heal up, back again at some health, while Dark Teddy is getting a lot of... Did I say Teddy?
Yes, that's his name. That is actually his name.
Still recuperating. Lord Hellseth still in a lot of trouble as he's getting so much pressure, but trying to switch over to the temple point in order to support Draze.
Oh, but Hellseth might go down here actually. Does
so much
survive.
damage.
Yeah, the good Chaos Storm creates some nice distance, as well as the Staff 2's phase retreat backwards up to that upper level, which puts him out of harm's way there, and does, in the end, might go down here.
And he's going down.
It's good for them to actually pick up that kill, because that can enable them to get back into the map if they didn't have two members in the downstate. Captain Neveo down as well as Zayla over on towards the altar there. TCG should
not looking too bright for Anabolic, but on the other hand, going in there with Ticey against one engineer Draze, trying to hold on the point in order to hold it as long as possible to probably let Helsef help him out, still heavily in the favor of TCG as they are currently rocking a 3-cap. Draze getting off all his cooldowns, popped Slick Shoes in order to give him the maximum crowd control and deny as much damage as possible. Big Bomb plays down, probably followed by his heal to give him an extra knockback, but there comes Ticey in. Not really getting all that damage off. Draze is still in a lot of trouble getting that heal off. 6000 HP, but now the third guy is joining in.
Annabelle is surviving. Annabelle is surviving very well for this in this build. He's a very good engineer player. He's been around for quite a while. Not seen him around too much recently, to be honest, myself. But he did a great job trying to survive there. Unfortunately, too much pressure applied by TCG over on this node at the moment. Draze is in a downstate though. If they could try and get the down here, they could come back into this game. But they aren't going to go for the res here instead on Captain Neveo. If they want to get him back up at the moment, we are going to see Draze being raised here, and the rest of the TCG members starting to take control of the rest of the map, moving towards mid now. Ternia and also Karziz want to go into a 2v2, but Dark Teddy moving into the bigger team fight, which was happening over on the temple. His movement over the rest of the map now, not sure where he's going at the moment. He's trying to get a potential decap somewhere, but now realizing that he's really out of position as he starts to move back towards the mid, but he does get immobilized just in the corner there, caught out by Texby and also from Draze there. He's going to get CC'd to hell by those two engineers. Slick Shoes and everything, look at them pinning him down in the corner. The poor guy, leave him alone. Jesus, he's on it. Oh, look at that line of warding. Completely blocks Texby. A great job.
Very well played. Trying to get up the Empower, but still not really in the favor as Anabolic, oh pardon me, Xella is getting so much damage, needs to pull out, trying to hold the midpoint neutral, but still in the heavily favor for TCG at the moment. Kaze went down, Anabolic also very low. Is he going to go down? Probably going to rally just as Kaze died. Really nice timing. Helsep now standing there with two guys, not really sure what to do. Probably going to pull out or facing the Thief.
No, it was the push in. It was the contested.
Such a close one.
Yeah, and they did grab the stillness buff as well, as we were just talking earlier about what was going on the rest of the map. We saw TCG picking up that very quickly, powering them ahead, as they did have a number of caps coming out for them. Still got the 1 cap each for at the moment, but that stillness brings it to a 2 cap in favour of TCG as they push towards 300 points now plus, and still not hitting 54. Don't know what to. TCG want to get this over before Drez's connection does run out. It's the final countdown indeed, as midpoint does look like it's going in favour of TCG. Zayla going down now on this node as Ateneo applies some extra burning conditions and some extra cleave comes out from Drazi from afar with those grenades. They know the rest of the map is probably under control. Ticey is in a 1v2, will be in a 1v2, sorry, at the moment with Karzez and also Helsef able to both take different positions on the point that can be very offensive now, and he will likely die here. The vulnerability, oh, a good idea from Ticey.
Unfortunate
re-engage maybe.
Probably saw that coming as the ring signaled him that he's probably going to pour that down to get rid of some conditions. 2 cap for TCG again. Mid is holding out. Teddy trying to probably not really sure what he's doing there since the cap is already in order.
I think he's just trying to stay alive in that situation in the 1v2, so make sure that when his team start to respawn, he can indeed try and support them. Captain Neveu lays down in terms of Lord Helsef, just wrecking face over towards that altar point there. They want to end this quick. They want to end this now. They've got the free cap. It's easily going to happen. They've still got another 30 seconds in the rest of the game. 30 seconds till stillness and also tranquility pops up. Last chance for blue team to come back, and I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, for them, as rest of the team members have been laid out. Captain Neveo, Anabolic, Zayla, and also rest of the team members looking pretty... not looking great, unfortunately. And we've got the GG from the red team. We've got a game end. That's going to be it.
Congratulations to TCG for winning the 79th Weekly Cup of the ESL. Whew.
Good job. Wow.
Just
okay.
in time.
Yeah, exactly. Very quickly. That was over 20 minutes. Bang, done. All good. See as. So, that was the ESL Weekly Cup, number 79. Thank you for joining us this evening. Shall we indeed go for a gem giveaway?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it for the people. Okay, come back to the camps. Congratulations to those guys. Also, to don't know what to do because they came back. They came into this tournament today and they did a great job. They got to the finals. There was some nice performances. A lot of potential coming out for this team in the future. They really need to stick with it. They've been here. They've been taking part in the ESL for a good while now, and they played very well tonight. You know, coming up against TCG is it's a tough job, you know, for any team, let alone a team that is starting to come up and get some consistency and starting to improve. So I think them getting into this game and wanting to fight them in the end, trying to find that fifth member, was very, very important. So we're going to do the gem giveaway. I've got to get into the giveaway kind of space right now. Let's have a look. Try and get into the giveaway section. Just trying to find this. So how did you enjoy yourself this evening?
It was quite fun actually. I'm not too used to shoutcasting apparently, but I think it was of course a lot of fun and a pleasure to cast with you along. Quite a few matches were really interesting, especially TCG against Salt was one of my favorites. Bit sorry for all the hardware and software inconveniences along the way. Would not speaking of spite of Teddy, I think he had some really interesting rocking lines of warding. But it's always a question if you put in a player just to get the full rooster. It's a bit different to, of course, what you're used to play, so that's a bit odd, and I would love to see the full team evolve with reliable hardware and software and internet connections. But yeah, beside that,
they plague our sport. They plague our sport. It's terrible. Honestly. Alright. What we're going to do is we are going to, if you put hashtag don't know in the chat, give these guys some respect to get into the final, because I think they did a good job this evening. They definitely deserve some props tonight. So hashtag don't know, DONTKNOW. Make sure you put that in chat and you will have a chance of having a gem code sent to you if you are picked out. Make sure that you are following the channel. If you do not follow the channel, you will not have a chance of winning any gems. I'll be hosting Rom after this stream. Maybe he can tell you what happened to Rom's not going to jail tonight. But otherwise, it's been a fantastic one. And thanks, Elsif. I'm sure it might have been boring for you, but we actually had a lot of fun tonight, especially in that Salt versus TCG game.